it's gonna be really quiet. Yeah, I don't need that anymore. Never know how much I love you. Never know how much I care. When you put your arms around me, I get a fever that's so hard to bear. You give me fever. When you kiss me, fever when you hold me tight. Fever in the morning, fever all through the night. Sun lights up the daytime, moon lights up the night. I light up when you call my name. You know I'm gonna treat you right. You give me fever when you kiss me, fever when you hold me tight. Fever in the morning, fever all through the night. Everybody's got the fever. That is something you all know. Fever isn't such a new thing. Fever started long ago. Go ahead. Jensen. Romeo loved Juliet. Juliet, she felt the same. When he put his arms around her, he said, Julie, baby, you're my flame, thou giveth fever. When we kisseth, fever with thy flaming youth. Fever, I'm on fire. Fever, yeah, I burn forsooth. Captain Smith and Pocahontas, well, they had a very mad affair. And when her daddy tried to kill him, she said, Daddy, no, don't you dare. He gives me fever with his kisses, fever when he holds me tight. Fever, I'm his missus. Daddy, won't you treat him right? Now, you've listened to my story. Here's the point that I have made. Girls were born to give you fever, be it Fahrenheit or centigrade. They give you fever when you kiss them, fever if you live and learn. Fever till you sizzle, what a lovely way to burn. What a lovely way to burn. What a lovely way to burn.
My name's Terrence Love. Welcome to Steamers JAX, Campus JAX. For those of you who are unfamiliar, I'm the jazz curator here, so they say, and I'm with my host and business partner here, Tony Guerrero from Steamers Jazz at JAX. Many of you know Tony as he's in the Flying Circus. We want to thank our partners, the Civic Music Association in Des Moines, Iowa, for helping make this concert possible, and their patrons. Let's hear a nice round of applause for them. They're helping us sponsor this, and they've got their patrons that are watching this being streamed live, and we're really, really happy that you could do that. Tony.
Well, I want to let you know that tonight's concert is part of CMA's Play On series, and so that series features concerts and performances from around the country and around the world, and they have some series sponsors that we want to make sure to acknowledge: the Iowa PBS Foundation, Nix and Virginia Lauridsen, Eric and Carol Weber, and then also we want to make sure to thank tonight's concert sponsors, Paul and Claudia Schickler. So thank you very much.
And we also want to remind you, if you enjoy this concert, please pitch in and make a donation to the Play On series. Just click the donate button next to the video window, and you'll see that when you go online and go to Campus JAX or any of those places. Anyway, enough of Tony and me, right?
Especially you.
We have just an unbelievable band, and some good friends of mine and old-time Steamers people and some people I've never got the pleasure of having on the stage there. And I'm just going to go ahead and introduce them one at a time. Since Tony is a trumpet player, I will introduce Aaron Janik on trumpet. Tony gets real shy about that kind of stuff. Chris Colangelo on the bass. Okay, this guy, you know, he's played with everybody in the world except me. Gary Novak on drums. And one day, we'll bring Tom back here, and I'll tell you some really crazy stories about this man. He's been very, very influential in the life of Steamers for many, many years, played there. He's the top piano player around anywhere, and a dear friend of mine, Tom Rainier. Tom Rainier. And since I'm a pseudo sax player, I'm going to let Tony introduce this great man on sax.
You're done, Terrence. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the great Tom Scott to the stage. Well, apparently, the great Tom Scott forgot his neck strap, so he has to go get that, which means Terrence is going to play sax for the first tune. So...
Yeah, there we go. Anyway, well, while we're waiting for him, and no disrespect to anyone else here, I want to let you know let's thank Campus JAX for doing this also. Isn't this a lovely setup? I mean, for keeping socially distant. Jack Jasper, the owner of Campus JAX. Tim Ellis, also a partner in this, doing this. We've got John Wynn on the video, Golden doing the sound, and we've got helicopters flying above. They're coming to take me away. Anything, Tony, you've got to say? Well, Tony's going to be here on the Thursday,
I don't know, 6th, something.
4th,
what is it, March
6th?
3rd?
March
okay.
3rd. And come
Okay,
check
if you don't
his
mind, call and remind me that day, would you? Yeah.
Very important gig for Tony.
March 4th. Oh, I just heard it's March 4th. Yeah.
Anyway, and you can also see all of the streaming that we have at Facebook, Campus JAX, or Steamers Jazz, or JAXhideaway. Also, if you do want to help contribute to what we do here and our streaming thing, you can go to steamersjax.com. All right, so I think I'm going to just leave the stage and let there be silence till this great music comes on. Let's hear it for the band, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, and this time he's strapped, Mr. Tom Scott.
Thank you very much, and good evening. It's really great to be here. You know, this COVID thing has made everybody's life, including those of us who play music, you know, together, supposedly. We haven't done too much of that lately, and this is a great opportunity. And we're very grateful for Steamers and Campus JAX and everyone involved, so we appreciate that. And Terrence, absolutely. Well, that first tune was composed by my good friend, who I have probably known 55 years, a gentleman named Roger Kellaway. You know, I mean, a ridiculously talented musician. And he wrote that tune. Actually, he was... there he goes. That's better. He used to be the piano player for, if you're old enough to remember, Jackie Leonard. You remember Jackie Leonard? Wore glasses, kind of a portly guy, and you know, was sort of the precursor to Don Rickles in a way, sort of insult comic. And I don't know the setup to this title, but Roger, he says he got it from him, and it was a punchline to some joke. And so the name of that last tune was called Crap Dust in Your Eyes. I wish I knew the setup, sorry. Anyway, so this next tune is one composed by a great composer, arranger, who had a great big band in Los Angeles back in the 60s, 70s, and so on, a gentleman named Gerald Wilson. You know? A wonderfully talented musician. And he wrote this tune on an album, and actually it was an album for a trumpet player named Carmel Jones, who was another local trumpet player, great player. And this was a Pacific Jazz record from the, gosh, I don't know, early 60s. And as a high school kid, I got this record and loved it. And then, like, I don't know, 45 years later, I said, God, what was that tune that opened that Gerald Wilson and Carmel Jones album? I really liked it. And so, you know, now we have this thing called the internet. And it's unbelievable that the, relatively obscure, not to me, but in the world in general, Carmel Jones, Gerald Wilson album is not the most, obvious thing that people go searching for, but thank you, Lord, it was there. And so I transcribed it, and here's this tune, this opening tune of this Carmel Jones record, composed and arranged by Gerald Wilson. It's called Business Meetin'. So I'm going to kind of, well, I'm sure in terms of this venue, I'm going to debut a new instrument. And this instrument is a most remarkable thing. This is it here. It's called the Roland Aerophone, AE10, for those of you who are taking notes. And this thing is a wind synthesizer. It has something like 600 sounds inside. It's an incredible amount of stuff packed into a relatively small package, and it kind of plays like a saxophone. But I'm going to demonstrate to you that it makes many other sounds, and I'm going to do one of them for you now. This is a tune that Miles Davis certainly popularized. It's the title tune from a movie. And to me, the theme is as good or better than the movie was. It's called On Green Dolphin Street. This next tune is also it's a movie theme from many years ago, and I first heard John Coltrane record this tune, and I fell in love with it right away. It's called "The Night Has a Thousand Eyes." So yes, this is a baritone saxophone. I have a great fondness for this instrument because in the 7th grade, when I entered, I guess they call it middle school now, but it was junior high school then, I was just dying to get in the dance band, the rehearsed stage band they call it now. God, they've got a different name for everything now. The dance band that rehearsed on Wednesday afternoons, I just had to get in. The only opening was, in fact, the baritone sax, so I lugged that sucker around in the 7th grade to and from school. But in the process, my father, who was himself a wonderful composer, arranger for television and movies, over 700 credits, my father. Lassie, Twilight Zone, Wagon Train, I won't go into that. But anyway, except to say that he had the very good sense to get me a recording by Jerry Mulligan. And yeah, and at that point, I had a tremendous fondness for his music, and I got to meet him in 1970 in Montreux, where he asked me to sit in with him. I was 22 years old and just out of my mind with delight, and it was a great time. And I got to he asked me to play on an album of his called Age of Steam. So it was a real, you never get over your childhood idols, right? And he was always one, and with good reason. Obviously, a definitive baritone player, great arranger and composer. So he had this quartet that was pianoless. It was him and Chet Baker with bass and drums. And we're going to do 3 tunes from the Jerry Mulligan Quartet for you. So, because basically Tom Rainier begged to not have to play for 2 or 3 tunes, so I said, okay, here's your chance. And this first tune, gosh, this must be movie night, I swear to God, unintended, but this tune is also the title tune of a movie, which starred Doris Day and James Cagney, called Love Me or Leave Me. So here is Love Me or Leave Me. It's a nice sound, and it's like chamber jazz kind of thing. Not so much in fashion anymore, but too bad for them. This next tune he wrote dedicated to the man who actually originated and was in charge, then host and everything of the Monterey Jazz Festival. Jimmy Lyons was his name. And so he wrote this tune celebrating his friend Jimmy, and it's called Line for Lions. So if you were around to enjoy the original Jerry Mulligan quartet with Chet Baker, this was probably right up there with one of their best-known tunes. And it was named after a guy called Bernie. And it's called, appropriately, Bernie's Tune. So I figured Tom Rainier's had enough of a break. It's time to bring him back, put him to work, earn his keep. He's earned it, believe me. But I've asked him, and he's graciously consented to do a solo piece, a feature piece, and it's the great American standard called "Make Someone Happy." Tom Rainier. How about that? What an awesome, awesome talent this gentleman is. And speaking of awesome talent, I must reintroduce this band. I am so fortunate to be so lucky to play with musicians of this caliber, and it's just such a joy. We have Chris Colangelo on bass. This gentleman on drums, you know, as I'm sure you know if you've paid attention to the news, Chick Corea, we lost him to cancer about a week ago. And Gary, I didn't realize, I knew he'd played with Chick, but you were with a quartet, right? With Chick, John Petitucci, Bob Berg, and yourself for how long? 5 years he was with Chick. Among his many other credits, so, you know, he's got to be pretty good, right, to do that?
Not really.
No? Were you BSing all this time? Oh. And the youngster, and the youngster of the group, who I'm always, it's a great pleasure to introduce. For example, Tom Rainier I said, "Do you know Aaron? Do you know this guy, Aaron?" "No." I said, "You're gonna be happy you got to know him," and so I introduced him to Tom Rainier tonight. Aaron Janik on trumpet. Fly by. So I live up in Ventura County, you know, and we had a weird thing happen very recently. They actually found this homeless guy on the beach, and he had managed to somehow catch, I guess that was injured, catch a seagull and cook it, and he was eating a seagull on the beach. Now they're protected; you can't do that. So the harbor cops picked him up and put him in jail for the night. And the next morning he came before the judge, and the judge is looking down at this very disheveled guy and looking at the charge, and the judge says, "Well, I can see by your appearance that you're in pretty dire straits. So after we dispense with this case, maybe we can fix you up, put you in a social program, help get you on your feet, because you're clearly in very serious trouble here." He says, "Thank you, Your Honor. Now, I see that you ate a seagull. You can't do that. And I tell you what, I will." And the guy says, "Your Honor, I'm sorry. I was starving, and the thing was injured, and I saw an opportunity. You know, there's fire pits out there, so I just." So the judge says, "Okay, look, I'll let you off with a warning this time. But don't let me see you in this courtroom again on any similar charges, or I will throw the book at you. Your Honor, I thank you very, very much for your understanding." And the guy starts to leave, and the judge says, "Sir, before you go, please, if you would, just come back. I want to ask you something." "Yes, Your Honor." The judge says, "Well, I've been on the bench for 20 years or so, and in all that time, I've never met anyone who's actually cooked and eaten a seagull. Do you mind telling me, what does a seagull taste like?" He says, "Well, it's kind of a cross between a spotted owl and a bald eagle." Timed that one perfectly. Anyway, so this next tune is written by a guy who was a dear friend of ours, God, another incredible musician, played with Miles, played with Cannonball Adderley, and was a fantastic studio musician in LA for a while, and I did a number of records with him, and he did it with me, and Victor Feldman was his name. Ridiculous talent, okay? And he wrote this tune, actually he wrote it for Cannonball, and we'd like to do it for you now. It's called the Chant, or as Victor liked to call it, the Chant. It's very British, you know. So I'm just discussing the fact that I put too many tunes in the set, okay? I mean, it's a good problem to have rather than running out of tunes, but we're just trying to decide which of the 5 or so tunes I'm prepared to do. We're going to end with a classic, a Duke Ellington tune, and it's called "Things Ain't What They Used to Be," and that could never be more true than this last year, huh? Talk about relevant titles, ladies and gentlemen. He was way ahead of his time. Here we go. Things ain't what they used to be. Thank you all very, very much. You've been a great crowd. It's really been fun. Please join us.
Let's hear it for Tom Scott. Aaron Janik on trumpet. Whoa. Gary Novak. Chris Colangelo. Tom Rainier. Tom Scott, let's hear it from one more time, guys. What a great show. Want to thank you all for coming out, and you know, if you do want to come up and say hi, do it in a socially distant manner, please. Also, I do want to remind you that we want to thank the Civic Music Association in Des Moines, Iowa, for helping make this concert possible. They're doing what they can to support musicians and music for fans, and also the Iowa PBS Foundation, Nick and Virginia Lauritsen, Eric and Carol Weber, and Paul and Claudia Schickler. God bless you all. Thanks a lot. Let's hear it for the band again. The lovely servers, Jack Jasper for putting this on, Tim Ellis in the back, John Wynn on video, Golden over there doing sound, my buddy Tony Guerrero. Thanks a lot, folks.
Time to get yourself all dressed. Time to get your shiny dance shoes on, 'cause everybody's jumping at JAX. All the kids are coming down just to dig the swinging sound. You can hear the band from miles away, 'cause everybody's jumping at JAX. Here's a little well-known secret, sure as there's the sky above.
Nothing could be any sweeter
than dancing with the one you love. When life is like a sour note, a happy antidote. Come to where the party never ends, 'cause everybody's jumping at JAX.